I've increased my income and I've still felt trapped. So let's talk about what freedom actually is, because it's not money. Now, don't get me wrong, I love money. I love talking about it, working with it, teaching on it. I mean, I just made a series on wealth energetics. But let's be clear. Freedom isn't about money. Money can absolutely support freedom. It can remove pressure, it can expand possibility, but freedom itself is something deeper. Let me explain, and I want to start with my own story. I was miserable at a job once. And not just like unhappy, I'm talking about miserable where you take it home with you. So I did what we're taught to do, which is to chase a higher income. I found a new job, better pay, on paper, a win. But I was still unhappy. So I did it again. New role, more money, I was still unhappy. And here's what I noticed. Every time my income went up, my spending went up too. Not because I needed more things, but because I spent too numb. Shopping, experiences, I was spending on anything to feel something other than trapped. More money, more spending, more emptiness. It was a vicious cycle, and at some point I had to get honest with myself. I kept trying the same thing and it keeps not working. I had to change the approach. That's when I stopped chasing income and I started to ask different questions. So not how do I make more, but what does freedom actually mean to me? And for me, true freedom, true sovereignty is being able to be yourself unapologetically, to dress how you want, speak how you want, move how you want, not having to constantly monitor yourself or shrink for other people, doing work that you actually enjoy, choosing projects that align with you and what you value, feeling good about how your time is being utilized, being able to pivot, to grow, to evolve. And more than anything, freedom is being able to feel safe in your body, in your mind, in your emotions, even when uncertainty is present, because you have practices that help you regulate and process and come back to this feeling safe with who you are. Here's the money trap. We're taught that the solution to most discomfort is more money. And listen, I welcome more income. There's still a massive gap between what women and men make, and that matters. So we get to welcome more income. We get to ask for what we're worth. But making more money does not automatically mean freedom, especially if you're unconscious about how you're earning it or where it goes. You take a job because it pays more. On paper, great. But if that job demands more of your time, your energy, your attention, and you don't even like the work, that's your life force being extracted. Yes, it pays more, but it may also leave you with less energy, creativity, time, less desire to live your life, less capacity to write that book, to sing that song, to book that role. Maybe it requires you to dress in certain ways that isn't really you. Maybe the environment dysregulates your nervous system. Maybe you wake up stressed before the day even begins. That's not freedom. That's golden handcuffs. So what does equal freedom? Higher income from aligned sources? That's freedom. Being intentional about where your money goes, that's freedom. Feeling safe in your body, your mind, your emotions, even when there's uncertainty, because you have practices where you're able to process and regulate, that's freedom. Being in integrity with who you are, what you value, and what you actually like, not letting the world dictate what you're supposed to like, that's freedom. Having autonomy over how you design your life and make decisions, that is freedom. That is sovereignty. Freedom and sovereignty are my highest values. This is why I'm actively in the middle of a life project where I am building and designing a life where I get to experience freedom and support other women in doing the same. I've established guardrails, what I'm available for, what I'm not, what is a non-negotiable. Does this include money? Absolutely. But through the lens of sovereignty, not numbing, not following the masses, not creating circumstances that limit or minimize my optionality. And this is why I created the sacred money ritual. Not to just help you make more money, even though you likely will, but to help you build sovereignty around it, to create a structured space to pause, to audit, to choose consciously. If you want that kind of clarity and rhythm in your life, the link is in the description. Now, if you crave freedom, but you feel stuck, trapped, unsure where to start, here's one thing you can do right now, and it costs nothing. Set aside some time, grab a notebook or a blank document, and identify what are you available for. What is your non-negotiable? And I want you to get a little fiery, a little of like, I'm so done with this BS type of energy. This isn't chaos, this is power. And from that grounded power, define your guardrails. What is the most minimal expression of freedom that your life can look like that would make you feel happy, free, joyful? And then what is the more expansive, luxurious version of that? Thinking of it as guardrails, when I was learning how to bowl, even though I still don't know how to bowl, you throw the ball and these two guardrails allows you to stay somewhere in between that spectrum. Those are your guardrails, where you're living somewhere in between there and you're still joyful because the minimum that you picked is already an expression of your freedom, your joy, your sovereignty. And then this other luxurious expansive is where you also get to experience if you want. If you want me to go deeper in how to clarify your guardrails, let me know. I can definitely make a video about that. And if any part of this felt like a yes in your body, tell me. I want to hear from you because you're not alone. So many women are in the same cycle, chasing more income, numbing out, and wondering why nothing feels like enough. And the fact that you're here is already telling me that this is the beginning of a different path for you. Let's build sovereign lives together. You're not behind. I'm not behind. We're not behind. We are premiering our second act. I'll see you on the next one.